All right. Okay. Welcome to the Torah class. We are Parshas Vaeirah 5, 7, 8, 6, 9, 20, 26. Okay. So we are discussing about this parsha. It's very interesting about the plagues, right? Just if you want to like numerical values, anyone enjoys that. There's Vaeirah. You spell this parsha is called Vaeirah in Hebrew. Vav Aleph Resh Aleph. Okay. Vav, how much is the first two letters is Vav Aleph. Vav is 6, right? Aleph Bet Gimel Dal Hey Vav, and Aleph is 1. 6 and 1 is 7, right? 7 plagues in this parsha. The next parsha is called Bo. How do you spell Bo? Base Aleph, okay? Bet Aleph, Bo. Bet is 2, Aleph is 1, which is equals 3, meaning next parsha, 3 plagues. So you have this parsha, 7 plagues, first 2 letters of this parsha, the name of this parsha, and the next two, the letters of the parsha of the Nephal. I heard this from my teacher back in 1983. Still remember it. Still remember it. All right. Anyway, let's go first. So in this parsha, everything in Torah is a lesson. Everything Torah is called Torah, as we all know. We've heard it probably many times in this class. Torah is not just the stories. Torah is a teaching. Okay, Torah comes from the word hayra'ah, a lesson, teaching, right? Even things, stories that are not applicable, not relevant to today's day and age, it's written in Torah. That means a lesson forever. Torah selects certain stories, certain things to say because that's important forever. It's a lesson we can learn, live it with it, learn from it, and give us guidance from everything we see in the Torah. So even stories of Torah, which Torah mentions, and there is that idea of Egypt coming out of Egypt, the physical place called Egypt, and the physical actually the rescue from Egypt, yes, but then there is a spiritual Egypt, and we have to be rescued from our spiritual Egypt. Okay, you have that, as you know, you probably can work that one out. You have the Yetzer Hara, the evil incarnation to Pharaoh, and he wants us to be locked up in his country. He wants us to listen to him and do what he wants, and we have to be rescued and not listen to the evil Pharaoh, the evil Yetzer Hara, which wants us to, be under his control, do what God wants from us. So this idea of now, what happened? Simple words, simple terms. There was the terrible plagues, and you had Egypt was terrible, and you had what broke Egypt, what let Pharaoh let the Jews leave, was when he got the plagues. Right before that, he refused. Before he got the plagues, before he got here, as they say in Yiddish, the schmeiss, before he gets spanks. Is that what you say? Spank, the 10 spanks, right? He wasn't budging, right? So the same idea from us. We need to take a lesson from all these spanks, as they say, to get out of our own evil. We'll learn about that too. Okay, so now in this beginning of this parsha, we go through a very difficult part. Okay, the beginning of end of it's a continuation of the end of the last parsha when God tells Moses to go to Pharaoh, asked Pharaoh to let the Jews leave. Moses did what God said. Pharaoh not only said he refused, he made the Jews work even harder. He whipped and took away the straw and told you have to make the same amount of bricks, and they had a lot more work to do, and it became much more difficult, and they were forced to do it. And then they complained to Moses, "Look what you did to us! Look what trouble you gave to us." Moses complains to God, "Why did you send me? Look at trouble! Look at trouble! I made it even worse for them. Why did you send me?" And God says, I will send them out. They'll be driven out of the land. Pharaoh, the Egyptians will drive them out and go and tell the Jewish people, right? I am God. I'll take, the 4 cups of the wine we have on Passover, the Seder night. Do you know one of the reasons why we have the 4 cups? And one is familiar to anybody. There is 4 expressions of redemption in this parsha, and therefore we have 4 cups of wine, each cup for a different expression of redemption. It says, I'll take them out of Egypt. They say, I'll rescue them. They say, I'll redeem them. I'll take them to me for a nation. So you have the 4 expressions. Go and tell them all this. And go and tell them they'll be revealed, the level of very high level of God to be revealed to them. And all these things. Moshe went and told the Jewish people. He gave over God's message. God will take you out, and God will redeem you. God will take you, and He will bring you to the land of Israel and give you everything. All the wonderful news. Did they listen to Moshe? Did they hear what Moshe said? The Torah says very interesting. They didn't pay attention to what Moshe said. They heard what he said, but they didn't listen. Didn't have any effect on them. What? You're telling us all these things while we're working so hard for Pharaoh. What are you talking about? So, and it wasn't like Moshe didn't do his job properly. Moshe was a messenger from God. Of course he did his job properly. Right? When and also, welcome. Moshe said about their Moshe tells the Jewish people the merits of the forefathers, the greatness of, because of our forefathers, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we're going to get all these revelations, all these rewards. We're going to get everything. God's going to be so good to us because of our forefathers. And you know, it's very interesting in the temple, okay? Every day when they want to know if it's morning, you know what they used to do? The practice was they used to say, Hey Pnei Mizrach, At Chevron. They used to say, it's already morning. The east is shining, the sun shining all the way to the city of Hebron. Why they say it's the city of Hebron? Because that's where the forefathers are buried. We wanted the merits of the forefathers. So we mention every day in the temple. They mention every day. Here, God is mentioning it. Isn't that great? Isn't that great information? Shouldn't that give the Jewish people excitement? But what did he cause? No, he didn't listen. He paid no attention to what Moshe was saying. Right? The So what happened? What broke the gauze? What made the Jewish people start listening? And what made the actual redemption start to work? Start to work, or start to proceed, or start to actually start to work. And the answer is, what happened? It was the plagues. The plagues triggered it. That's when the Jewish people started believing, when the Egyptians will have all the plagues, they realized, that started changing things. The plagues. Now, so what was the first plague? Okay, as you all know, the first plague was the blood. What happened? The water, the Nilos, the Nile changed. The Nile was water, and the water of the Nile turned into blood. Right? What is that? There's reasons why they got to do that. It's like different explanations why. Some say when you have a war, the enemy, you cut the water supply. I'll say, there was they worshipped the Nile, so God punished the Nile, different reasons. But here we're learning the significance of the idea of turning the Nile water into blood had a very important significance in here. The nature of water, okay, water on its own is cold. We don't warm it up, it's cold. Nature of water is to be cold, right? Sometimes in the summertime, you like to go in the cold water, okay? Cold water, a cold lake or cold pool or something, right? We're not heated. The nature of water is to be cold. That's the nature of water. What's the idea of cold? What does it signify? It signifies the opposite of holiness. Why? Because holiness is warm. Kedusha is chayat. Kedusha is life. Holiness is life. Gives you, right? Lebedekeit. And chayat, life. And it says that there's 10 things, and Medrash says, actually says, that Reb Nosson says, there are 10 things that are called life. Okay? Well, first thing, of course, is God is called life, the Kim Chaim. And any the things that are connected to God is called life. But the idea of here of a kaltkeit, cold, is the opposite of warmth, the opposite of holiness. So the idea of the water here, okay, what we're talking about here is the opposite of holiness. It's cold, negativity. It represents opposite of godliness, right? Because there is you can have two types of coldness. Okay, you can have a coldness towards holiness, or you can have a coldness towards material stuff. You can have that I have no excitement in the world in material stuff. I am cold towards it. I have no enjoyment. It's one way. You can have a coldness to holiness. Say I don't have, and I have no appreciation for anything to do with holiness. I have no connection to it. Right? So you can have two. Yeah. You can have two ways of cold. So what we're talking about here is a negative way of cold. Cold to holiness, to Torah, to godliness, to mitzvahs, to God's commandments. And there's idea of water, God separated the waters the second day. There's water above in the heaven, and there's water below. Right? The water which is from above represents coldness to physical things. Yeah, the water below, water above. Water represents cold. So water from above represents coldness for material stuff, for worldly matters. Water from below represents cold to spiritual stuff. Right? So over here, we're talking about cold, the water of the Nile, which is cold to spiritual stuff. And so now the cult of the is when that was the whole of idol worship of Egypt was this, as we said earlier. Was the Nile. That was their way of, that was their God. That's the way they lived. That they got, as in that in Egypt it didn't rain. They used to get the water from the Nile, the water flow in, and then they'll make these channels, these canals, canals from the Nile to give water to the Egypt. So they worshiped the Nile because that's where they got their life from. So that was their idol worship. That's what they cause it where their source of life, so to say. All right. So you have to break. The first thing is you have to break the stolz. You have to break the ego of Egyptians. Their idol worship has to be broken. Okay, which is called break it. What are you going to do with it? You're going to turn it around and make it warm. What's the idea of blood? Blood is warm, right? Blood has the nature of being warm because, right, Dama Nefesh, blood is a person. Blood is life, right? Is warm. Sorry, blood is warmth, and water is cold. So you're going to turn the blood to water. Excuse me, the water to blood. You're going to turn the negative, the coldness, to holiness, and you're going to turn that and warm it up, and excited and warmth to serving God. All right, and it says very interesting. It says all the water that's on the dry land is going to turn into blood. The question is why dry land? Just say the water will turn into blood. So we're trying to say the water, the idea has no warmth at all, has no wet, no, and the dry land also has no devekas, has no sapness to it. It's the complete negative. And you're going to turn that and make it excited. Turn your cold towards Judith to holiness and turn it to be warm. Change your attitude. Yes.
Yes. I have a question.
Sure.
What about can you expand? I know I don't want to get off the topic, but can you expand about Isaac has a special significance? Well, many reasons, but one is because he was a well digger, right? He dug wells. And so um, is there a kind of a parallel significance that he was bringing in the uh, the water from below? He was liberating it.
Yeah, he
How
was
can
elevating it. Yes, he was actually bringing it from below to above. If you dig, you get the water, it shoots up. So he was elevating the low to elevate the low
he
to
was elevating the low to above? That was
yeah,
yeah, okay. I want to think about that a little bit.
yeah.
Okay.
Abraham brought down from above to below, and Isaac was bringing the low.
Abraham brought it from above below, and Isaac was bringing it from below above.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically
Okay.
okay. Let's get back to our okay. So you have so now we discussed here so far that idea of the water is cold. You want to bring warmth. What now? Okay. What's the next thing? You have Aish Mayim Ru. You have the Dem Sameach Chaim Medaber. You next thing is you want to take the next species, which is the Svadea, which is the frogs. Okay, and turn that to holiness also. Now, where is Svadea, a frog, okay, is very very cold. But it's completely cold. The Svadea. Okay, that's what
Because it's a reptile. It's cold-blooded.
What?
Because it's a reptile. It's cold-blooded.
Yeah, cold-blooded, right? Thank you. Yes, the reptile is cold-blooded. And it's so okay, is now so it's the opposite of holiness at all. And you're gonna turn and what does Fatih do? What did this what did the nature, what did this frog do? Torah says it's gonna go into your ovens, right? It jumped into the ovens. What's the idea of yeah, it's very why I mean why this what's so significant that the frog should jump into the ovens, warm up in the ovens. What's what's so significant? And what we're saying is perfect because you can get this cold svardea, cold frog, and it's going to warm up in the oven. You're going to turn its nature around. You're going to make it warm, right? Warm it up. So, from one, excuse me, from one side to the other, you're taking something from a complete cold, and you're going to bring that to be warm. Okay, I mean, Torah says, actually, and the sages tell us that the Sardea had self-sacrifice. They knew they're going to die, and they still jumped into the ovens. Very nice, but yes, the question is why did it have to be done? We know what they did, but why was it necessary? And what we're saying here makes very good sense because we want to take the cold and we want to warm it up, get it warmed up. So, what's the lesson from all this? Very nice talk. What do we take home, as they say, from what we discussed? Well, so you have to realize that the worst thing that can the beginning of the downfall of a person is when he gets cold, doesn't get excited about Judaism. Torah. It's not important, it doesn't get excited. That can pull him down from one step to the other, all the way down. That's very so a person, right? a person might think to himself, I'm not excited in holiness, but I'm not excited in negative stuff too. I'm in the middle, you know. I'm parav. I'm not this way, not that way. That doesn't work like that. If someone has no excitement to holiness, God forbid he'll fall all the way down to negativity. You're on the slippery slope. Either you're going up or you're going down. So a person has to have excitement in serving God, right? And then they'll be able to serve God properly. Like, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, can really convince someone not to be excited. He works very hard on this. When he sees a miracle, he says, what's the big deal? God can do anything. Don't you believe God created the world? Don't you believe God can do anything? So why are you so excited? Well, yeah, for me, it's exciting. I don't see these things every day. For me, it's something special. But the Satan, the Sahara out there, tries to convince you, don't be so excited. And that you get rid of it. Don't listen to that type of convincing. Right? Like it says, there's a famous story with Achrina ben Dosa. Okay? He was a very great sage, and he was very, very, very poor. Extremely poor. And there's many stories said about him. One of the stories was that he came for Shabbos, and he didn't have any oil for the lights for Shabbos candles. So poor he couldn't even afford to buy oil for the Shabbos candles. He comes home and his daughter complains, says, "Daddy, we don't have any oil." He says, "What do we have in the house?" He says, "We have vinegar." All right. God, who said the oil should light, should say the vinegar should light. And they made Shabbos candles with vinegar. The vinegar started lighting. That Shabbos, the candles was made out of oil, wick, and vinegar. And they put it and it burnt. Many miracles today. So what could the Yetzer Hara, the evil, say? God can do anything. God made the oil. God made the vinegar. He can make it vinegar light too. What are you so excited about? What's the big deal? And that we have to get rid of. You can't listen to that type of convincing. And so the first thing is we have to be excited. So even today, also today, the idea of going out of our own Egypt, our own traps, that the Yetzer Hara wants to pull us in. We have to get excited, and we have to turn around, take and be excited, and we're gonna really we're gonna have be cold to ideas of the world and warm for. So this is basically a talk, and thanks everyone for joining.